So my title is Reclaiming the Past, Historical Accuracy in Contemporary Hollywood. So my key aims, I'll be exploring the different types and styles of historical film, and films that belong in the historical genre. First of all, historical documentaries. They're supposed to be the most honest and kind of most impartial films in the historical genre, because they're made without the intent of being theatrical or made to only entertain the audience. They're meant to enlighten and educate as well. However, I discovered documentaries are made by filmmakers with an agenda to put to the audience, meaning that most of the time they're not necessarily completely impartial and they tend to be biased. The second one I'll be looking into is period dramas. These are films that often are adapted from novels and usually classic literature, and they're made to not just replicate the era that the book and novel says, but also to faithfully make the book itself come to life. So the historical accuracy is usually paid attention to quite well, with regards to costume and hair makeup and how characters speak, etc. So they're time conscious. They're made to entertain the audience because the audience want to see this book come to life and see it play out in front of their eyes. And then you've got epic drama. These are made to purely entertain the audience and to give them a spectacle. These are usually the blockbusters that attract the biggest numbers in the box office and the biggest audiences. And these audiences aren't there to be entertained, aren't there to be educated, or they don't really care about the accuracy of this historical aspect. They're just there to be entertained. And because of this, the historical basics are there, but because of artistic licensing, the companies themselves don't really pay attention to the accuracy, because they just know that the audience is there just to watch the film and be entertained. And then I'm going to my two case studies. I'm going to dissect them into in depth. So the first one is Selma DuVernay from 2014. It's a historical drama about Martin Luther King and the marches surrounding the voting rights in the late 60s. And then 300, which is an epic war drama, based on the comic books, based on the retellings of the Battle of Thermopylae and the Greek-Persian Wars. And I'll be going into these two films in great detail and finding specifically why they are historically accurate or inaccurate. So here's an example of a period drama.
Is it worth the waiting for? If we live till 84, all we ever get is cruel. Every day we say a prayer. Will they change the bill of fare? Still we get the same old rule. There's not a crust, not a crumb. Can we find? Can we beg? Can we borrow or cash? But there's nothing to stop us from getting
So Oliver Twist there. Apart from it being a musical, it's period conscious, of the Victorian or Victorian workhouses. Little kids there in their costumes. They're obviously poorer than the workhouses owners and stuff. So there's definitely a time conscious effort there. And I didn't know Oliver Twist was a period drama until I looked it up, and because it's from the Charles Dickens novel. So yeah, I'll be looking for them to all sorts of films like that. Next slide. So case sources. I've been using a variety of books. These are some of the main ones. So we have Visions of the Past, The Challenge of Film to Our Idea of History, Rosenstone 1995. Past Imperfect, History According to the Movies, edited by Carnes, 95 again. History Goes to the Movies, Studying History on Film, Hughes Warrington, 2007. The History on Film Reader, edited by Hughes Warrington again, 2009. And Hollywood's History of Films, Eldridge, 2006. I've also been using some reliable websites such as Box Office Mojo and the numbers, boxofficemojo.com and the numbers.com to get various box office figures and costs of productions and stuff. Next. These are the most useful books I've come across. Visions of the Past there. This is a quote from them that I've been using. No matter how serious or honest the filmmakers, and no matter how deeply committed they are to rendering the subject faithfully, the history that finally appears on the screen can never fully satisfy the historian, though it may satisfy the historian as a filmgoer. It's quite like that reason why this is a useful book, because it uses quotes from professionals so they're not just saying saying a statement, they're backing up with quotes from real professionals and real historians and filmmakers. And also the book's actually a balanced argument, so it doesn't just say historical films are good or bad. They have pros and cons for both arguments. And also it's clear and conscious, and it isn't a pretentious book. I mean, I can't really read books that just loads of words and I can't really understand them. So this is a book I can understand very well. Next. And then there's another book that I liked, Past Imperfect, History According to the Movies. This is a quote from that book. Bonnie and Clyde was severely criticised at first for glamorising the lives of two hard-scrabble criminals and portraying their multiple felonies as picturesque adventures set to banjo music. Yet the enormous box office success of the film forced even these critics to come to grips with its appeal. So from that quote alone, you can just tell that, even historians can tell that historical films aren't made for purely educational reasons, and actually, if it's a box office success, then people are going to just look over the accuracies of the facts. Again, this is an in-depth book and it's understandable, and also every chapter is a film from different it displays different time periods. So you go from Cleopatra to JFK, a wide variety of historical periods, and also it has educational columns and pictures to explain these events, to give you more context of the period itself and what the film was trying to replicate. So in the chapter of Cleopatra, it give you facts about Cleopatra herself and the ancient Egyptian period itself, so you can know what the film was trying to go for. And another source I found really useful was newspaper articles. So with regards to Selma, the Washington Post, with regards to Selma, they interviewed Joseph A. Califano, who was Lyndon B. Johnson's top domestic assistant from 65 to 69. This is the time period that Selma was happening in real life, and B. Johnson was the president at the time. So Califano is like a direct source of evidence of this film, and he said Selma was LBJ's idea. He considered the Voting Rights Act his greatest legislative achievement. He viewed King as an essential partner in getting it enacted, and he didn't use the FBI to disparage him, which, if you see the film, you see that in Selma, the film, Johnson, the president, is seen as quite a bit of an opposition to King, and is actually trying to, and actually it is in the film that he does use the FBI at one point to try and discourage and disparage King from this movement. But actually, as you can see in real life, Johnson was actually quite he wanted to use King and actually do this, is not what the film says, but I think so. Kenneth Branagh can confirm that the film is manipulated to make the story more comprehensive to the audience and more entertaining as a general. My approach. So I'll first off is my introduction and why the historical film genre is still so popular and it's so widely used in many Hollywood films. And then chapter 1, different types and styles of historical film. The documentary, the period drama and the epic drama. And then chapter 2 is my case study 1 of Selma and why that is historically inaccurate. And then case study chapter 3, case study 2, 300, a different film, different genre, an epic drama rather than just a period drama, a historical drama. So I'll go into those two in depth. And then, last slide. And then, so my findings. So documentaries are meant to be impartial and meant to be the truest form of historical filmmaking, but actually most of them have an agenda, and so they become biased. Period dramas, they usually adapt from a novel, and they try to keep in faith with the book. So in turn, that becomes historically accurate because these books are obviously written at the time. And epic dramas, their sole purpose is to entertain the audience with an epic spectacle, with far less emphasis on historical accuracy, because they are the least out of the three. They're the least conscious of accuracy. Thank you, and good night.